Hey everybody, Alan Warren here, the RV Wingman. Thanks for joining me today. If you've ever wondered whether an RV inspection is really worth it or not, then you're about to meet someone who proves that it is, beyond a doubt. Jeff is one happy camper, and for good reason. When he set out to buy his dream motorhome, which was about 18 months ago, he wasn't about to roll the dice, as they say, on a six-figure purchase. Instead, he did something that most people don't do. He found a top tier RV inspector before he even found his RV. And boys and girls, his decision saved him around, get this, 25 grand. Yeah. Thanks to Blue Ox on the Run RV inspections, Jeff uncovered some major issues and used them to negotiate a massive discount and ended up with an RV in pristine condition at a fraction of the original price. So, if you think an RV inspection is just an extra cost, I hope that you'll think again. Jeff's story is proof that the right RV inspector can make or break your RV experience. Let's hear from Jeff himself. I looked back in my video library and I can't find when we spoke last, but had to have been more than a year ago, Jeff.
Yeah, it was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of September, October 2023.
Okay, so that was a year and a half ago or
Yeah.
so. What and as I recall, you had just purchased an RV, a motorhome, and the reason I want to talk with you is about these inspections because we talked about inspections a year and a half ago,
Correct.
and a lot of people I think are making a mistake by not getting an inspection. They're spending a lot of money, and they think I don't want to spend any more than I have to, and so I wanted to revisit with you. Tell your story if you would, and because I have no idea where you're at now with your RV.
Sure, no problem. Well, back in August of 2023, we purchased a 2014 Newmar Dutch Star,
Hmm.
model number 4018. We had been all over the country looking at different motorhomes, and when I kind of narrowed down on the one that I was interested in, that's the one that I wanted to get the inspection. They
Right.
say that some people are not really wanting to get inspections; they don't want to pay anymore. I kind of subscribe to the old adage of "fool and his money is soon parted." If you're going to be spending 50, 80, 100, 2, 3, $400,000 on a motorhome, and not get it inspected. Most people that buy these things don't really have a very good knowledge of the motorhome industry or that particular motorhome. They may have had two or three motorhomes in the past, but they've never had that one. And not getting it inspected, especially if it's used, you're opening yourself up to the potential of having to do a lot of repairs yourself that you didn't know existed in the beginning.
Now, did you
I
buy
didn't want to
new?
be in that boat.
Did you buy brand new?
No, we bought it. Mine was a 2014, so it was 8.5 years old when we purchased it.
Okay. Did you buy it from an individual or from a dealer?
Well, mine, this particular one was an individual. However, we did look at several at dealerships all over the country. Just never got to settle down on anything. As far as really wanting to move further than just looking at it.
So you've got a used, nice motorhome, but you didn't want to pull the trigger without getting an inspection. But an inspection, especially a good one from a qualified inspector, it ain't cheap, but it's a whole lot cheaper than the consequences of not getting one.
Insurance is never cheap. We never want to spend the money for insurance, but when you need it, and you take advantage of it, you're getting your money's worth. I had spoke to somewhere in the neighborhood of probably 15 different inspectors all over the country. I didn't know where I was going to purchase it, so I wanted to try and develop a relationship. What I quickly decided was that most of the inspectors that I had been talking to are either learning how to do it on the job, or they do a couple of hours, kick the tires, walk around, and send you this, few page report on what they found. I wasn't looking for kick the tires and walk around like that. I wanted an in-depth inspection. And so I kept the search going until I found somebody, Blue Ox RV Inspections. That's who I used. They
Mhm.
basically gave me, it was two people, not one. They gave me a 10-hour inspection that was over 330 pages, about 450 pictures, a couple of dozen videos of everything. And I had a very, very comprehensive list of everything that would have been wrong with the motorhome, gave me the opportunity to find out how much that was going to cost, and then that was the negotiation tool that I used to lower the price when we finally started negotiating. And then he came down and we bought it.
What kinds of things did the inspector find that maybe Jeff wouldn't have been able to, you wouldn't have been able to find?
Well, there were a few things with regards to the slides, how they weren't aligned properly. One of the slides actually made quite a bit of a grinding noise, so that would have been obvious, but I needed to know what was wrong with it to get a better idea of what it was going to take to fix it. We had a leak in the front main seal on the motor and a leak on one of the power steering hoses. All of that um, gave me, plus a lot of other things that you would have been able to find and a lot that you wouldn't have been able to find. But the list that I received because I called about 4 or 5 companies all over the country to try and get an average of what it would cost no matter where I went.
Hmm.
And that entire list was $28,500.
Whoa.
And I used that list, and some of it was normal wear and tear, and I was willing to accept part of that, but most of it was not. It was actually a little bit of neglect. And so I used that as a negotiation tool, and I basically got about $24,500 off the price of the motorhome. I was able to get it all fixed, including some of the things that I had done myself for just about $1,500 less than the total 28,500 that I did. So I was way ahead of the game as far as that goes. Now I would consider this motorhome pristine. We've now put over 17,000 miles. We've crisscrossed the country a couple of times, and we're absolutely loving it.
Any new things that developed that maybe the inspector Blue Ox missed early on, or?
Actually, no. Nothing came up that wasn't already figured on their list. I did some extra stuff, like I had changed the oil in the engine, I had changed the transmission fluid. I did things that was a recommendation, not knowing exactly when it may have been done previously, to just go ahead and do it.
Mhm.
So basically, when I got all the work done to this motorhome, I had the warm and fuzzy feeling that it was a solid machine. And we took off and started our retirement, and we haven't looked back. It's been a wonderful experience. I have heard people that get in, these cheaper inspections, that lots of things are missed, some things are not even checked, and people end up spending tens of thousands of dollars after the fact to try and do it. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is you can use the cost of the inspection as also a negotiation tool if you're at a dealership, and actually negotiate the price down just to start with the inspection cost. Then you give them the list of all the items that are need to be repaired, and they either take price off of it or they repair the item that's necessary.
Okay, I am not, and I know you're not being compensated by Blue Ox,
No,
okay?
not at
But
all.
they seem to me to be very anal, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Very thorough
In
in
my
their
opinion, they
inspection.
are the most professional, highly skilled inspectors that are out there. Just think about it. The average of the 15 or so people that I spoke to was about 3.5 hours that they were going to spend on the motorhome and give me some number of pages and some number of pictures. Blue Ox spent 10 hours, and that's two people, so it's really 20 man hours on it. Every single thing from the front bumper to the rear bumper, from the bottom of the tires to the roof, was fully inspected, fully tested. And you're right, I'm not getting anything for this. That relationship was a year and a half ago that I used them, and I can't recommend anybody else because they are extremely thorough and extremely dedicated to producing an inspection that helps somebody basically protect themselves.
One of my concerns, there's so many people out there that now they're saying, "I need to get an inspection." But all inspectors are not the same. As you learn, you talk to 14 or 15 of them. You may have a certificate that you went to some school or class or something, but it is the experience that the inspector has. It's like wisdom. You have to have time and experience
Absolutely.
and a level of understanding.
They
And
had done over six. Now, again, we're going back a year and a half. They had done over 600 inspections between Class A's, Class C's, a few B pluses, but most of what they have done is in the large fifth wheel and Class A's. Class A's being what they've done the most of, and that is across the entire industry wide of all the different manufacturers. So they have a tremendous knowledge of what is out there.
I have a question. Did you said it was several hundred pages and all kinds of pictures and videos that Blue Ox had provided to you? Did the seller, the person that you ended up buying from, did they have a stroke when you said, "Here, let's talk about some of this stuff"? What was that like?
Well, actually, what I did was I used their complete report, and part of the software that they use allows you to produce a like a repair list. So I produced a repair list, which is the shorter, more condensed version of it. And I basically told them, this is not me saying this is wrong with the motorhome. This is my third party inspector that is out there. And they're saying this is wrong. We can go over it item by item by item if you want, which we did. And I said, I spoke to this person, I spoke to that person, and that's how I came up with what is wrong and the amount that is wrong with it. And they basically um, gave me the tool I needed to negotiate well. And he recognized that all of it was wrong. There wasn't anything that was fabricated by any stretch of the imagination. Anything that required movement, I had videos of, so I could have showed him that. Basically, he realized that he was going to have to fix all of this and try to sell it to the next person, or sell it to me for a reduced price. And that's how we settled on it.
But if he was not willing to make those repairs or reduce the price, were you willing to walk away from that? You spent a lot of money getting the inspection.
Absolutely. The way I look at it is the amount of money that you spend on the inspection has to give you the ability to either walk away or know you're buying something good. If he would not have come down in price, I would have walked away. Yes, I would have spent whatever that amount of money was, but that would have been well spent because I'm not interested in buying something and turning out to be upside down on it. So I basically bought the unit, repaired it for what it would, a few dollars less than what it would truly have been worth. If I had to walk away, there would have been another one somewhere else in the country I would have gone and looked at and ultimately used Blue Ox to do the inspection.
Well, there's a lot of new RV dealers out there that sell new that don't like to have an outside inspector come in. Well, we've already done the inspection. We did a PDI.
Yeah,
But
well, I mean, that's all well and good. However, you don't buy a home without a home inspector to do what they can. If they're telling you you don't need an outside inspector, we do all of this. What are they hiding? If they were truly selling a really good new or used unit that really had been gone through, they should be welcoming anybody to do the inspection to prove that they're that good. But the problem is they're hoping that you don't get a good inspector or don't even get an inspector and just buy this. And then once you drive down the road, it's your problem. And that's just, in my opinion, like I said earlier, a fool and his money is soon parted. You do not want to spend the kind of money that these things take to own and operate without really getting a good quality inspection so you know what you have. I mean, a lot of these new motorhomes are leaving the factory with issues that they're hoping the dealers fix. The dealers don't want to fix it because the dealer's getting $60 chargeback money per hour to fix something that they would normally be getting $185 an hour if you came into their facility. They don't
right.
want to tie up their shop with warranty work. They want to tie up their shop with regular retail work. So they don't want to fix this stuff. So their PDI inspection is a quick glance and that's it. And anything that may really truly stand out, maybe they put some time into it. But for the most part, they're hoping you look the other way.
I think you're exactly right. I wish you weren't right, but I'm telling you this: with the state of the economy right now and motorhome sales being so soft, I think that dealers are more willing to allow an inspector to come in and make the necessary repairs to get those things off their lots.
Right. But if the individual dealerships do not start holding the manufacturers accountable for the defects that come out of their facility, then it's always going to be something that's going to attempt to be passed through to the consumer. The dealerships need to push back to the manufacturer and say, no, you need to fix this. Come back, pick up your unit, and get it fixed right. That's the only way. what most people don't realize is the only thing that is actually regulated by the government is the chassis. Everything above the chassis, there's no regulation to it whatsoever. So if it comes out in good condition, great. If it's got problems with it, there's nobody there to inspect it to tell them no, you need to do better than this. There's no recalls except on certain items. So at the end of the day, if you don't get it inspected, your um, RV that's been going down the road 1,900 miles across the country has been shaking itself apart the whole way it got to the dealership.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't build them better, then you're going to need that inspector to find the problems and force someone to repair it or to help you make the decision not to buy it.
How many motorhomes did you look at, Jeff, before you guys ended up pulling the trigger on this one? Because it sounds like you're very thorough about your doing your homework. Did you look at a bunch of them, or this
Oh
just kind
yes,
of
we
landed your
started
lap?
off obviously on the internet doing it, all kinds of research in the internet. My wife is absolutely phenomenal with that. Once we kind of got an idea of the different floor plans that were right there from the different manufacturers, we started going locally to different RV centers, and then we started branching out. In a week's time, we had gone from Kentucky to Tennessee, 3 places in Florida, 3 places in Texas, and then out to Arizona. We probably physically looked at probably 20 to 25 units altogether. That doesn't even include what we really researched on the internet. That would have been just units we were face to face with
At the
until we
same
settled
time
on
you
this
were doing at the same time you were doing the shopping for the perfect RV for you, were you also vetting the inspectors at the same time, or did you find the RV first and then start shopping for a good inspector?
No, I was actually doing the vetting process all along because I knew when I found something, I'd have to move on it, and I didn't want to take a week or two interviewing different inspectors. So the whole time I was looking into who I might be able to use.
What am I not asking you? I mean, are
Well,
there
I
any?
guess my background might help people understand why it's that important.
Mhm.
I spent 34 years as an aircraft pilot. I worked for a company where I was Boeing trained as a heavy maintenance airworthiness test pilot. I bought and sold airplanes, and I worked airplanes through maintenance facilities with some very large, heavy inspections. To me, I don't know what I don't know. So I didn't know anything about an RV to be able to do my own inspection. I wanted someone who had the experience, the knowledge, and the integrity to do the inspection for me so that I would have the best tools to move forward so I wouldn't get caught with that $190,000 motorhome that was only worth 140,000 because of all the things that are wrong with it. And so we took the time to make sure we went into this purchase with the best possible tools.
My comment to you is just that when you know what you know there are things you don't know, it's a great place to be. When you think you know everything, you find out how little you know.
Absolutely.
And you being a pilot and being around aircraft, I mean, you're a smart guy, but you know an aircraft is not a motorhome. And
Exactly.
and finding an expert, somebody that is skilled enough that you have the confidence in. And it sounds like you do it all over again. I mean, if you had to buy another RV now, you'd probably hire Blue Ox.
Oh, I absolutely would. There'd be no doubt about it. I wouldn't go to anybody else but them because of what they produced and the integrity behind each of them and their business. So yeah, there'd be no doubt in my mind that I would go back to them.
Talk about a success story. Jeff didn't just buy an RV. He made a smart investment. By taking the time to find the best RV inspector he could, he avoided costly repairs. He negotiated a huge discount and ended up with a motorhome that runs like a dream. And here's the deal, he would do it all over again. Blue Ox didn't just meet Jeff's expectations, they exceeded them. And I, for one, think that's awesome. Their painstaking attention to detail, 10-hour inspection, and a report of like, what do you say, 330 pages, gave Jeff the confidence to move forward or walk away if he needed to. If you're in the market for a new or a used RV, take Jeff's advice. Get a professional inspection from the right people because in the end, the small upfront cost of a great inspection can save you tens of thousands of dollars down the road. So what do you think? Would you hire an RV inspector before making a big purchase like that? Have you ever had an experience, I don't know, good or bad, with an RV inspection? I would love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman. Be safe, have fun, play nice, and don't leave your good manners at home.